This is ICAC Unpacked, International Crimes Against Children Task Force Unpacked. I'm Norman Michaelation. Hey, I want to show you something here that came out a few days ago, and it's something that has been troubling me for some time because of the incredible, stunning hypocrisy that it brings forward. First, let me go to the top of it. This is out of the Alexandria patch. You can see it up here. Child porn conviction leads to prison time for Alexandria, Virginia man. So I may or may not have mentioned this last September, but he was convicted of possessing child pornography, and of course, possessing and distributing as well as production are all intertwined. You know, it's funny because in some jurisdictions, if you possess it and you share it, that's production of it. And I'm not excusing it, I'm just explaining how you can get so many charges sometimes because every little thing becomes a charge. And of course, we want to keep children safe, but that's not what I want you to focus on here for the moment. It's what they say about this guy, our government, and how it stands in stark contrast to what they do against the people who most deserve it. So this is a guy, Antonio Rudy Gonzalez, 41, distributing and possessing CSAM, that is child sex abuse material, CSAM, CSAM. And of course, to make it worse, he was on supervised release for a similar offense. So he's on some kind of probation at the time. Now, I've talked a little bit about the messaging platform Kick here, and at some point, I'm going to be getting together with somebody who used to be a government informant, and he has some information to share with me. We have not been able to set that up, but he claims that the government goes on Kick and that they create an environment, very much like what we say here on ICAC Unpacked, but that all the people in this chat room, as opposed to a decoy online, it's a different thing, are fellow police officers. And they target one person, they invite them in, they all talk sexually, they pretend like they're people who want to do something with a child, and then they nail this particular individual. Again, it's a hunting operation that police do that, again, the person has indicated no particular interest in doing anything with the child. And that is important to learn. Am I saying that in every case? No, but we don't know here. A potential clue is the message platform Kick, which apparently is on mobile device. I don't know, I've never used it, but he had been convicted of distribution of CP. You would think, as an aside, that they would want to get this guy some kind of help, that they would immediately get him in some kind of counseling. But apparently, they just put him on pretrial release. And I think that, you know, in many ways, it's a great tragedy here. Okay. Following his previous conviction, he knew what he was doing and he knew that it was illegal and he knew the consequences, said Eric Siebert, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia in September. Now, listen to this next part, which I find so ironic, so telling, and really so disgusting. Instead of embracing a respect for the law and the vulnerable lives it protects, you know, like with the Epstein files law that was passed, that President Trump signed, even as he was busy concealing the Epstein files and ordering his Justice Department presumably do the same, or they did it out of a deep, abiding desire to be with him and to make sure that he was taken care of, and he apparently is doing nothing to counter that. I mean, it's just laugh out loud ridiculous. Reading further, Gonzalez returned, says Eric Sieber, to his previous crimes with no regard for those harmed by sexual exploitation. Yeah, correct. We will tirelessly prosecute anyone engaging in these detestable crimes, and we will continue to pursue anyone who refuses to reform. Really? Really? Have you gone to the White House recently? What about all those people who are redacted from the Epstein files? Not the child victims of the time, but the people who perpetrated this. I mean, honestly, folks, we are fighting all the time people who are brutalized on social media sites and adult dating platforms who had indicated no interest in having sex with children. Even among those who might have a prior conviction, they're entitled in the second one to the presumption of innocence. And we've seen in the courts in Ohio and Utah, there's been a tremendous attempt by judges to finally say we've seen enough of these things. It is not necessarily all a child exploitation case where this young person or this older person is on a dating platform who has indicated no interest in having sex with a minor, and you set upon him, the state through their police agents, and you create scenario after scenario and cajole and demand and pressure and push. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you just sitting there like the traffic cop down the hill waiting for something to happen? You're not waiting for the speeder. Now, the police have said, well, we know people aren't going to be sniffing around saying, are you 13? Are you 15? Well, that's right. So what are you going to do? You're going to create a scenario where you're either virtue testing them to see if they'll take that bait when they've said no at least once, and maybe you should disengage, or you are weaving these elaborate scenarios where you're attacking them, you're attacking their manhood, you're pretending, as in my case, that you're somebody who is in a vulnerable state. And you take the absence of sex talk to suggest grooming when you have a history of a person who had spent his entire career helping young people, and even as much as 2 months before, helping somebody get assistance, psychological assistance, and avoid suicide. And even after that, the person tried to commit suicide, and we were able to catch it in time. And you don't bother, you go to the school to interview all the students, but you don't talk to the administration. You don't find out what this person's background is. You don't go to these people's jobs and find out what these backgrounds are. No, you immediately assume that if they fell into your trap, which you had no business developing, that they must be guilty, even though they said over and over again they weren't interested. It's astonishing, too, how police and prosecutors, when they go before a judge, will conveniently eliminate all this exculpatory evidence. They won't mention it. They'll say it's not there. In my case, the judge wouldn't allow it into evidence, where you can see over and over again where I say I'm not interested. Wouldn't allow it. I read them, but that doesn't matter. You know, you have trolls who are saying, well, I need to see the exact message. And then when you do show the exact message, that's kind of blurry. I can't read that. Listen, why don't we stop playing this game and stop with Mr. Siebert's ridiculous statement like that and really get to the point where you are serious about finding out what is child predation? Where is it? Yes, what is it? What is it? Is it child predation on these adult dating platforms? Is that what's really going on there? Find out exactly where it is. Let's see the unmuddied statistics where we find out exactly who are the people because who want to hurt children. Because when researchers work on this, they have a very hard time pulling this apart. They do, however, run into certain ways that they're able to do it. And they come to the conclusion we don't know if these people are actually predators. Still, other researchers start with the idea that they'll throw out the words offenders and predators. And we've seen with ICAC, when they were evaluated by the General Accountability Office, they refer to people that they haven't even entrapped yet as offenders and predators. They haven't even approached these people, and they're calling them offenders and predators. They're not looking for offenders and predators, they're looking for opportunities to create offenders and predators. Why else would you say we got these predators, we're going after these predators and offenders, and admit that it's a proactive sting? Proactive means we're getting out in front of a potential problem when there's no real problem there. It's putting the cart before the horse. So, Mr. Siebert here might want to look around the wealthy and the powerful, maybe interview the president, find out what's going on instead of these. We're going to, overturn no stone, leave no stone overturned, and look all over the place and really protect these children. When at the same time, on the other side of their face, they're doing everything they can to hide the Epstein files, to protect one or more individuals in there, and to do nothing to protect children at all.